About 3 months, but that could roll into spring or summer because, of course, they'd still need to go through that FDA authorization process. So a lot of you understandably have questions about this new variant. I want to bring in Dr. David Winter from Baylor Scott White Health to help answer some of them. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So only a few cases of this Omicron variant have been identified in the U.S. Is it definitely going to be a problem? I mean, do we know how widespread this could potentially be? Is it going to be like the Delta variant?
That's the important question. Here's what's important to know. The standard test to detect whether you have coronavirus don't tell you whether you have a variant or not. So I think as we do more testing, we'll find that it's even more widespread right now than we know. So if you have COVID, we don't know if it's the variant, Delta, Omicron. Right now, special testing is required. That's being done now around the country, but that isn't done routinely. So we don't know how wide it's spread right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You have to sequence in order to determine which variant you have. What do we know about this variant so far? More contagious? Does it cause more serious infection?
Yeah, the scientists have been able to detail exactly how this virus is different from the previous one. And the important thing, though, there's 50 different mutations in this one. So there's some opportunity there that these might be advantageous mutations, meaning they can spread faster. We don't know that yet. I think it's going to take time to see how it responds in a community where there's lots of Delta, see who wins. But yeah, it's contagious. Now, how serious it is, that's another question. The good news, if we can talk about this down in South Africa, most of those folks didn't get that sick, but they're mostly younger populations. So we don't know the answer about that yet either. More information to come. I think we'll know a whole lot more in the next week or two. Information is coming in very rapidly right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I think a lot of people, Dr. Winter, right now are going, okay, well, I've gotten my vaccines or I've gotten my booster. So is this going to work against Omicron as it makes its way across Texas? And I mean, I think realistically, we know that it's probably already here. We just haven't confirmed it yet.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that we've been lucky here in Texas. The cases are down right now, but COVID is surging in 7 different states right now in the country. And so it's out there. It's likely to come back. This Omicron may make it even worse. We don't know that for sure yet. So what can we do? We've got to stop the spread of this virus, and we know what works. Vaccines work. We know wearing masks work. Distancing yourself, trying to avoid large crowds when you can, washing your hands, all those things work. I think right now we need to double down because we may be in for a big surge, a big problem. I worry about that. We got COVID, we got flu season coming up. So we all need to take special precautions now to stop the spread of viruses. Please do what you can do.
Yeah, and I like the recommendations you mentioned. I would imagine boosters could be helpful at this point as well if you haven't gotten those yet.
I think that's important to point out also because indeed, if you get a booster, you increase your antibodies, which may help with Omicron. Clearly they help with Delta. So if you haven't gotten a booster, get that. If you hadn't gotten a vaccine, please reconsider. Now's the time to look this thing in the eye and say, I recognize this is a serious threat to us. We need to stop the spread of this virus.
And Dr. Winter, as we're coming into this like really busy holiday season, I think people are going to want to think ahead to travel. Do you think they should be traveling? I know that things are sort of fluid and changing, right? But as it relates to travel, especially going in and out of the country or even kind of traveling throughout the U.S., what do you think we should be doing here?
Well, I think you need to think twice about that. Certainly, if you get out in crowds, wear a mask, maybe even a double mask. I think if you're going to be with your family and friends, the smaller the group, the better. If everyone's vaccinated, you should feel a whole lot more comfortable with that. If you have family members or friends that aren't vaccinated, be careful about that. This virus is really a bad virus right now. Even the Delta virus, 7 states it's surging. We're low here. It's bound to come back around, I think. So I think we're in for a big trouble right now. And with all the crowds and the travel, be careful out there, people. I worry about this spread, and I worry about another surge coming to all of us.
Okay, we're just doing the best we can at this point. Dr. Winter, it was good to see you. Thank you, as always, for this information. As Dr. Winter said, for the latest information about this Omicron variant or vaccines, you can do a couple of things. You can stay up to date on the CDC's website, of course, but also head to WFAA.com, or you can text the word COVID to the number here on your screen, 214-977-6028, and we'll send a link right to your phone.